We've gotten to a pretty important point now. You can now use, with movable bar chord shapes, major, minor, and dominant 7th chords across the 5th and 6th strings, playing chromatically in any key, which means that no one can ask you a chord that you can't play at this point, whether it's A flat 7, G sharp minor, B flat major, doesn't matter. You can now play any chord they ask you. The next logical question is, well, what are you going to do with all this information? Well, you can certainly go out and buy a transcription book of guitar chords, maybe a Beatles book, a guitar fake book, and read through all the chord symbols and just learn how to play them on your guitar. But in the Efficient Guitarist, there's an appendix starting on page 70, and it's called the Major Chord Table, and it includes transpositions. What this table shows you is every possible chord in any key and how they're grouped together. And it's going to give you a lot of things to practice. So let's go ahead and turn to page 71 in our book to look at the guitar chord transposition chart. And let's go to our full fingerboard view to show how we can use these chords. Alright, the major transposition table looks as follows. You're going to see it on your screen here. It shows you one basic key, in this case the key of C major. Along the top you've got 7 Roman numerals, 1 through 7. And in music we use Roman numerals to signify which chord that we're playing. And the nice thing about a Roman numeral is that when you're talking about different keys, we don't have to keep changing the letter name. We can talk about a 1 chord being the first chord in the key, no matter what key it is. It makes talking about progressions much easier. You've probably heard at some point in your life someone say, oh yeah, we're just playing a 1-4-5. Well, we're going to learn today about what a 1-4-5 means. So looking at this chart, we've got 7 chords. C major as the 1 chord, D minor as the 2 chord, E minor as the 3 chord, F major as the 4 chord, G or G7 as your 5 chord, A minor as your 6 chord, and B diminished as your 7 chord. Now we haven't dealt with diminished yet. We're going to come back to that at a later point, but for our purposes in this video, it's not gonna hinder us not using the diminished chord. What this is showing you, these 7 chords, is a key. So I'll just play through some of the chords. Now what makes these chords a key is how they all sound good together. They complement each other, and they're also built from the same structural, kind of like musical DNA, from the same major scale, which is why we're calling this the major table of chords and transpositions. Now if you look at page 71, you get every single key, the entire major alphabet, using all 12 chromatic keys, from the key of C major to the key of C flat or B major. Now what's cool about this chart is it shows you all the available chords in any one key. So if you wanted to practice your chords, we could simply go through this chart, and if you look at any of the left to right rows, so if you're looking at the key of C major, anything that goes left to right across the first columns, like C major, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, and B diminished, those are chords that are going to easily complement each other, and you can create songs and rhythmic patterns from. So for right now, what we're going to do is I'm just going to play a little background track using GarageBand on my laptop, which is a little drum beat, and I'm going to pick some random chords from the key of C major. Maybe probably like C major, E minor, F, G, and some A minors. Those are chords that, again, are in the same left to right column. And I know they're going to sound good together because they're in the same key. And whenever things are in the same key, they're pretty much guaranteed to have a nice ring to them. So I'm going to start my little garage and play along and just strum along some random chords in the key of C. So let me start my song. So here's just a simple snare drum beat, not too fast. And I'll just use some of these chords in combination and see what I come up with. So that didn't take much to get something that sounded like a real song. The nice thing about this table and how the table works is that if you basically follow the chords in the left to right key, you're guaranteed to get yourself, C majors, A minors, D minors, E minors, and these are all chords that complement each other. Now, on page 71, you've got this big chart of every single key. Now in the key of C, I don't have to utilize really any bar chords. I made the F chord a little bit bigger, but I could have used the open position F chord.
If we change key, like you want to play this, let's say, for example, in the key of E major, so you'll follow down the list and find the bold-faced E. And its chords of F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A, B, B or set, B7, C sharp minor, and D sharp diminished. Those are all the keys that go along with the key of E major. Now, most of those chords are going to require some open chord shapes. We don't have F sharp minor, we don't have G sharp minor, we don't have B7. After we have B7, we don't have B major though. We don't have C sharp minor, and we don't have D sharp diminished. So we're going to need to use our bar chord shapes. So I'm going to go ahead and play the same basic progression in the key of E major with my same drum beat. Let's see how it sounds. I'll start GarageBand. Alright, so just using those basic chords, we get an idea of what we can do. Let's talk about what we just did here.
So there's a lot of good uses for this table of transpositions. If you go through the keys and just play some of the different chord progressions, even at random, you don't have to have any kind of sequence or exercise. Just pick a bunch of chords to go from any of the right to left rows and do this to practice. It's a good idea to pick keys that have either flats or sharps in the names, because then you're going to kind of force yourself to get out of the open chords. Keys like A flat major, B flat major, that contain almost no open chords. This way, you'll be forced to use your bar chords and you'll be thinking about your progressions. The other cool thing about this is that as you're starting to learn to write songs, these tables of transposition show you all the available sounds and colors within a particular key. So you can just pick a key, let's say D major, and look at all the chords in the key of D major and use those in your own original compositions, in any way you want to. Those are just the 7 sounds that bring those together.